Good afternoon and welcome to 90 Minutes Live, which this afternoon finds us at Watson Park, home of Ware FC. And on a day when the deluge is finally lifted, we've got sunshine here, but there are only two games taking place in Southern League Division 1 Central. Those two games are separated by about 4.5 miles because down the road at the Smile IT, Hertford Town are playing Welwyn Garden City. They're the only games that have survived the weather, so hope you enjoy your football with us. It's 90 Minutes Live in association with Easy Shelf Direct. We'll have full live commentary of Ware against Cirencester Town from myself, Peter Hill, and to my right hand side, who's taken a brilliant picture of a rainbow earlier, Simon Alamandi.
Yeah, good afternoon, Pete. Good afternoon, everyone. And thankfully the rain has stopped for now. As you say, the sun's come out. That rainbow is beautiful as well. And I put a little tweet out. And I've got to say, I've got to give a shout out to Cirencester because they've been really good in spreading the word about today's commentary and retweeting our tweets and everything. So thank you to them, and very much appreciated. And again, it's all part of that non-league family, Pete, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The non-league family that sticks together. So let's take you through the team lineup. As far as Ware are concerned, not much writing, just one change from the team that drew 1-1 at Stockfold this time last week. Joe Dearman is relegated to the bench and Jack Dreyer is recalled. So let's start with Fred Burbage in goal. The back four will consist of Darian Furlong, Jack Grosvenor, Echo Coker and David Sota. In central midfield, Alex Warman and George Ironton we expect to play a little bit deeper this afternoon, with Jack Dreyer behind a front three of Theo Afori, John Clements and Richard Ennin. On the substitutes bench for Paul Hall's side, Kieran Bishop, Mitch Hahn, Freddie Moncur, Joe Dearman and Matt Walsh. A couple of surprises in the Cirencester lineup in the fact that the Pear brothers are both missing this afternoon, Nick and George. So changes needed there by manager John Bruff, and he had to make one very, very late as well when Cameron Walters pulled up in the kick-in, and John Dennis has come in to replace him. Everything moving fast today. Don't quite know why that is, but we're just about to get underway here at Watson Park. I'll give you that Cirencester lineup once we get a break in play. I can tell you, though, that our referee is Ashley Butler, who comes from Halstead in Essex. We have bright sunshine here. It's ironic. It's the kind of day that football fans hate, isn't it? You've just seen your game postponed. You come out and the sun's shining like it's summer. Hardly a cloud in the sky at Watson Park. Cirencester are going to get us underway in yellow shirts and black shorts, kicking from right to left, Where in their familiar blue and white striped shirts with blue shorts. Early action for David Sota on that far side of the field above Luca Robinson. It's going to be a throw-in which will be taken by Dan Hill, the right back for the team from Gloucestershire, furthest away from Ware in the division, 123 miles away. So I hope they had a good journey. And we've got the ball here on this near side with Dennis, the substitute, has been pulled into action. Plays the ball back to Charlie Johnson. The ball finds its way to Dan Hill over on that far side. Again, Jake Lee, who's the Cirencester skipper, allowed to go towards the halfway line. But he chips it out on this near side of the field. And it's collected there by the number 10, Felix Miles. Miles plays the ball back to Jordan Morris. Dennis plays it forward in midfield for Will Pooley, the young 17-year-old. It'll break inside that Ware area round Jack Grosvenor, and it was Echo Coker that got them out of trouble in the end by thumping it out on that far side. Quick look at the Cirencester lineup then. Stuart Nielsen, Dan Hill, Charlie Johnson, Regan Messenger, Jake Lee, John Dennis, Luca Robinson, Will Pooley, Aidan Bennett, Felix Miles and Jordan Morris. The starting lineup for John Bruff's team. And on the substitute bench, only 4 subs now, of course, with John Dennis forced into action. Charlie McRae, Joe Turley, Josh Seller and James Mortimer Jones. The 2 referees' assistants, by the way, Aidan Jones and Adrian Copsey. That completes the lineups for us here at Watson Park. Good crowd in the house, but you would expect. Not much football in the local area at all. I think most of the Arts Senior County League games were off. St Margaret's were due to play away. Their game was off very early on. And notably, Simon, of course, a couple of games were called off yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I think, obviously with the state of pitches, sometimes obviously, taking into mind the travelling of other teams as well, and your pitch isn't going to improve dramatically in those 24 hours, especially with the rain that was predicted overnight last night as well. So it makes sense to call it off early, I think, sometimes.
There's John Dennis in possession. He's known as a wide striker, so he's come into a natural position for him. Ball back on the halfway line with Jordan Morris. Morris chips it to his left-hand side to Felix Miles. Beaten to it by Hoka. His long ball forward, though, is a fairly aimless one, but not controlled by Charlie Johnson. 22-year-old former Evesham player. And Ware have themselves a throw-in. Best home record in division for Paul Hall's team in the league this season. And in all the home games, they've won 10 of 16, which is pretty impressive. Only lost here 3 times. Northley, Biggleswade Town and Aylesbury United is the one they'll want to forget. But neither of these two teams have had decent records against teams in the top 5 in the division. Ware have had 6 points from 6 meetings with top 5 teams. Cirencester 7 points from 7. So both have struggled. Earlier on in the season, it was own goal that separated them, of course, as Ware won down in Cirencester by a goal to 0. John Clements finds George Ironton. Richard Ennin picks the ball up, controls it well, plays on this near side, looking for Theo Afori. Theo's on the edge of the box and then just miscontrols it and allows it to run out of play. Does look, as we said, Richard Ennin to start anomaly on that left-hand side. He had the free roll, which George Ironton and Jack Dreyer have got this afternoon at Stotfold. Came up with that equaliser a minute from the end of the match. Fred Burbage in possession. 6 clean sheets this season for Fred. Long kick forward, headed back inside the Ware half. Miles controls it to a degree, and then it goes back for Jake Lee, the skipper. Plays it forward once again to the lively looking Felix Miles. Played it in, and Regan Messenger was in a decent position, but couldn't control the ball. Jack Grosvenor puts it back to Fred Burbage. Interesting facts about that. Since Jack Grosvenor and Alex Warman have been in the team, Ware have scored 8 and conceded 2 in the 5 games that they've played. The previous 5 games before that, Ware conceded 14. I think that tells a bit of a story, Simon.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, we've said before in the commentary games before that they've made a massive difference to the defensive side of things, and Paul's alluded to that when we've spoken to him afterwards as well, hasn't he?
Here is Jack, who side foots it back to Fred Burbage. Kicks it away before Felix Miles can get there. Richard Ennins in a tussle with Dan Hill on that far side. Ball goes out of play, helped on in the end by Luca Robinson. It's a pretty young-looking lineup as far as Cirencester are concerned. They've got some experienced players. I'll tell you about their goalkeeper in a minute, who's the most experienced of the lot, as the ball finds its way to the skipper, Jake Lee. And it's been very much a team that hasn't really forced a change, but they only used 23 players all season of Cirencester. So as the ball finds its way out on this near side for Jordan Morris, but his cross gets it all wrong and straight at Fred Burbage inside the 6-yard box. Paul Halsey having a little bit of a yell. I don't think he was happy with the amount of space that Jordan Morris was given. Darian Furlong brings in Hoka, who's playing this right full-back role, but puts the ball out of play on this near side. John Dennis will wait for the arrival of Jordan Morris to take the throw in for the Centurions, as Cirencester are called. Again, Morris gets a chance to put it across the box, headed out by David Sota, who had Luca Robinson on his back. Picked up by Richard Ennin, who rides over the challenge from Regan Messenger, and the ball goes all the way back to David Sota. Tips it towards John Clements, who got an enormous push in the back by Jake Lee. Referee not interested. Clemo's back in possession on the halfway line. Finds George Ironson. May look on this side and does. Brings in Echo Coker just shy of the halfway line. His ball forward for Richard Ennin, who can't control it. And Dennis sorts it out for Cirencester. Will Pooley, the 17-year-old, will play it on that far side to Dan Hill on the halfway line. Only 4 wins on their travels in 14 for Cirencester. Haven't been the best away record. AFC, Dunstable, Barton, Tame and Aylesbury United, where they have proved victorious. Obviously long travel really to most places for them. Alex Warman picks the ball up deep inside the Ware half, brings in Echo Coker to Theo Ofori, who's robbed of the ball by Jordan Morris. He then brings down John Dennis, and Cirencester will have themselves a free kick midway inside the Ware half, and 2 teams just feeling each other out at the moment. Yeah,
I think so. Well, the early stages of the game, probably about 8 minutes gone, I think, isn't there? And as you say, just trying to get an eye on how each other's going to see this game out so far.
Felix Miles, the 20-year-old on loan from Gloucester City, will take the free kick. He's found midway inside the Ware half, left-hand side of the field. He's aiming to curl it into the area, though, and it goes off head, I think, possibly of Echo Coker, but the result is first corner of the afternoon to be taken by Felix Miles for Cirencester, where have just kept Richard Ennin forward. I think Theo Ofori might be coming up to join him. 2 teams that seem pretty well physically matched, actually, when you look at the stature of the players on show. Miles, one of the more diminutive, will take the corner from that far side, high across the box, headed up in the air in the end by Charlie Johnson, and over the top of the crossbar with not too much for Fred Burbage to worry about. Both these teams, Cirencester in 5th in the table, Ware in 6th, separated by goal difference. And he's considerable. Cirencester plus 17, Ware plus 1. And you do worry, Simon, that Ware's goal difference might come back to haunt them.
Yeah, I think that could be the issue, couldn't it, for them? Obviously, having a just over a positive goal difference, and Cirencester having 16 goals up on Ware, that's almost worth an extra point in itself, really.
Oh, it's getting to the business end of the season, and inside the box here as a flag goes up is Aidan Bennett, the number 9. First time we've seen him. Didn't control the ball anyway, and ball goes back for a free kick to Ware. Real servant of Cirencester Town Football Club, Aidan Bennett. 13 seasons he spent there, and over 400 appearances. That's even rare on league days, this, I suppose, with 7-day approaches and players changing clubs, to have over 400 appearances.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good effort, isn't it? I mean, for the same club, they say over 13 seasons. I mean, he obviously, we don't, know the full stats of the club and everything, but he must be considered one of the absolute legends.
Yes, when you look at Ware's appearances, I suppose that tells its own story, really, in the fact that Kieran Bishop has made the most. He's on the bench with 105, and then you go to Fred Burbage with 68, and this Freddie Moncur 59. It'll be his 60th should he get on. As Rio Coker picks the ball up deep inside his own half, chips it forward over the head of Clements and all the way back to the goalkeeper, Stuart Nelson. Chance to introduce him. 42 years old, Stuart Nelson. At one time held the record for the most clean sheets in the English Football League, having played for Doncaster, Brentford, Gillingham and a whole Orient and a whole host of Football League sides. Probably, I must say, the most experienced keeper in the division, if not the most experienced keeper in the Southern League, I would have thought. But Ware have got themselves a free kick midway inside the Cirencester half on that far side of the field. George Ironton takes control. Jack Grosvenor's making a late run towards the edge of the area. Nobody really in the way as far as Cirencester are concerned. They're all lining up on the edge of the area, as is their wont. It's chipped in by George Irons, and it's a good one as well, as Echo Coker comes in on the near side, but couldn't pull it back. And in the end, it goes into the side netting. But John Brough, the Cirencester manager, not impressed with that at all. Real shout from the boss, but a good kick on that far side, and the shot comes in and is well saved by Freddie Burbage. Luca Robinson hits it. It was route one all the way from Stuart Nelson all the way to Luca Robinson, and Freddie Burbage had to be alert there.
He did, yeah, indeed. I mean, you've got to say that that Ware chance, great chance there, and then Stuart Nelson, he's obviously spotted the run. He's put the ball down for the goal kick quickly, spotted him, and that was almost a very initiative start for them.
Corner number 2 for Cirencester from that far side. A high again. Header comes in from Jay Lee. It's off the line by David Sota. Ware at the moment surviving a little bit. David Sota to the rescue. Always put your fullbacks on the line, and he did the job there.
He did indeed, yeah. He's seen that coming. He's just about managed to get his head to it, get a jump up high enough, and clear that and save Ware again there.
Another corner this time from the near side. Need to watch Jake Lee again. Had a free header on the previous occasion. Corner comes in near side to the far post, and again it's Jake Lee who's there. But this time he gets right underneath it and puts it over the top of the crossbar. So where's marking all it should be? Echo Coker having a little bit of a word with Darian Furlong, and probably just making that point. But goal kick to Ware. Survived a couple of scares at that end. Cirencester have survived one at the other end, and we're 14 minutes in here. 90 minutes live with Pete and Simon in association with Easy Shelf Direct, bringing you Step 4 football. Only other game is at Smile IT, the A414 derby between Hartford and Welwyn Garden City. Why do they have these big games both on the same day? We'd love to have cloned ourselves, but couldn't do so. But we'll keep you up to date with all the news there during our half-time sequence. Muppet Link, all about Cirencester as well, and also one of the more heartwarming stories from this season of football here at Wadson Park. Ball forward by Echo Coker. It's John Dennis who gets it. I want to say the visitors have had the majority of the possession so far at the beginning of this one. Ware conceded it last week with Stopfold at the same level of the game. We're been a much more effective second half team. They've scored 23 goals first 45, 38 in the second, as ball forward is overcooked on this near side by Charlie Johnson, and goes all the way out for a goal kick to Ware. A couple of trips to Oxfordshire to come up for Bawsey and his team. Kidlington and North Lee next on the agenda before their next home game here. 23rd of March will be at home to league leaders Bedford. Fred Burbage restarts, goal away to our left, midway inside the Cirencester half. Good header on by John Clements, and Richard Enning was making life difficult for Dan Hill, who just thumps it into the trees on that far side. Gives Ware a throw-in Darian Furlong territory, the first one they've had so far this afternoon. Jack Grosvenor and Echo Coker coming up from the back. Sure, Cirencester, like everybody in the league, has done their homework, but as we always say, it's one thing knowing who's coming, it's another thing dealing with it. As Darian Furlong has his familiar better run-up than he got last week at Stopfold. Let's hope his throw might be a little more effective. Throw comes in, headed on by Jack Dreyer against the crossbar from John Clements. Ware come closest to rattle the crossbar. Nelson wasn't near it. It was a good move. Jack Dreyer put it on. Clements headed it, and it rattled the Cirencester crossbar. John Clements again for Echo Coker, looking to put Jack Dreyer through. Looked to have been pulled down. Referee not interested, and here comes John Dennis coming the other way, but has to stop his progress. Bolts by Theo Aforian on the halfway line. He puts it back into his own half for Jake Lee. And it goes last year when these two met, of course. Cirencester won in a 7-goal thriller, 4-3. And Ware very close on that occasion.
Yeah, fantastic effort, wasn't it? I mean, we said last week how Darien was struggling with his throw-ins and Ware weren't really creating any chances.
We'll just break here. John Dennis goes in, but linesman's flag up on the far side wouldn't have counted anyway.
Yeah, so as I was saying, we said last week that they weren't really creating any chances from Darien's long throws. But he's coming with his first one down in the danger area and created a really good chance for Ware. So promising sign there.
Well, one off the line at one end from a corner for Cirencester, one off the crossbar at the other end from a long throw from Darien Furlong. Maybe ask a few questions about either team's marking at dead ball situations. As the ball will break on the edge of the Cirencester area. Further headed on by Messenger, but that's a good challenge coming in from Alex Warman. Takes the ball away from Felix Miles and all the way back to Fred Burbidge. Darien Furlong picks it up on the edge of his 18-yard box, back to his goalkeeper. Jack Grosvenor will come forward with those long legs of his. Plays it forward to Richard Ennin, who brings in David Soter on the halfway line. Good bit of possession for the home side. Grosvenor finds David Soter again. Soter down the line for Jack Dreyer. Jack tries to turn his way inside on that far side, but his progress balked by Luca Robinson. And David Soter will have a throw just inside the Cirencester half. Chips it forward, look for Clements, couldn't find him. Cirencester will come in the opposite direction with Felix Miles. Turns around two, can't get around Alex Warman though. Alex, surrounded by yellow shirts, does well, brings in George Ironton inside the centre circle. Chance for Ware to come forward down the right with their Echo Goka. Echo Goka forward for Theo Afori. Theo is shoved to the ground, most definitely by Jordan Morris, but referee not interested, and the flag goes up on the far side. I think that saved the referee there. If that had gone on to something in Ware's deficit, there would have been real complaints, I think. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's definite push there from Theo, and I don't know why the referee hasn't blown up there. But as you say, thankfully for his sake, there was an offside, and that's, as you say, saved any embarrassment for him, I think.
Darien Furlong's free kick bounces off the head of Dan Hill and goes out of play on that far side. Richard Ennin's going to take it quickly and bring in David Soter midway inside the Cirencester half. Nice touch by Jack Dreyer looking for John Clements. I don't know whether it's me, but Jack Dreyer has been dropped out of the side for a few games, but I think I've mentioned his name more in the opening 15 minutes of this one than we have in some previous games.
Yeah, I mean, we've said a couple of times where he seems to go sort of like missing in games and that, haven't we? And I think maybe it's given him a little bit of a sort of like kick up the backside, and maybe Paul's told him he needs to work on certain things a little bit more, and he's obviously done that and impressed in training and back in the side today, and so far he's getting involved.
Yeah, Ware again have got another strong bench, and Wolsey has had selection issues, whether to play Jack Dreyer in that hole behind John Clements, whether to play Joe Dearman or Richard Ennin wide. Richard Ennin earning the shout really for his man of the match performance last week against Stotfold. Long kick forward onto the head of Jake Lee, whacked up in the air by Regan Messenger. In comes David Soter, who felt that the boot from Robinson was high, but referee not interested, and Cirencester have a throw in on the halfway line, which their right full-back Dan Hill will take. And we've had 21 minutes here at Wadson Park. Flown by, it's been a good game to watch. Two good sides as you imagine, trying to aim for the playoffs. As the ball on that far side is just shepherded out of play by David Soter. The player position, of course, made a little complicated by the fact North League can't be promoted and can't take part. They're currently fourth. So, in effect, the playoffs goes down to the sixth position that Ware occupy. Steve King in his preview of the match said that certainly not going to rule either side out losing this one, but he's going to give them a good bit of breathing space between them and a chasing bunch, which of course includes Hartford.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think we've said before, there's a lot of teams you go further down the league that you can't discount. But I mean, slowly teams are going to sort of drop out of it as they drop points. And yes, today although if either side loses today, you wouldn't discount them out of it. But 3 points would be massively beneficial to either side.
As ball picked up by Felix Miles on the halfway line, starts a mazy run. Furlong knew what he was doing. He just moved across his path. It wasn't a foul, but I suppose in the old days it might have been called obstruction, but it did the job. As ball hoofed forward by Jordan Morris, but Ware will have it with Echo Coker, who loses out, but Furlong pushed the ball forward. Will Pooley puts it up in the air, and Dennis will bring in Luca Robinson. John Dennis will get it back, play it back into his own half for Jake Lee. John Dennis, who had just a little bit of experience in the team. He's come in very late. Cameron Waters, the 17-year-old who's on loan from Cheltenham, picking up an injury, but he's been at Tame as John Dennis. He's played this level of football in this league as well for a while, so a bit of experience for Cirencester. So the ball breaks for Jack Dreyer and then for Alex Warman, who brings in Theo Afori. Theo can't control it. Ball evades his boot and goes out of play right in front of us. So commentary position, just a little touch inside the half, being defended by Stuart Nelson and Cirencester Town. Nelson picks the ball up, the reddy orange boots, I say. And forward for Charlie Johnson. Johnson's ball forward for John Dennis. Dennis outside for Morris, who gives it away to Alex Warman, whose ball forward will easily be dealt with by the skipper Jake Lee, but then goes out of play. And I think everybody can hear that. I tell you what, that's louder than Nicky Ironton, I think.
That is. I mean, I know obviously, Nicky Ironton was the first with us from our side, but yeah, that's. I think everyone at home's heard that loud and clear.
Yeah, I think we ought to measure manager's shouts on the Irontonometer, and John Brough almost broke it there, I think. His thoughts on Luca Robinson.
I mean, saying that, I've not seen Nicky here today. I mean, I'm sure him and Dave are here. It's
not seen him yet.
Not seen him.
He was probably alert with that shout. He was probably sitting there going, "Oh, I'm louder than that." So there's George Ironton, who's been on the receiving end of it through a bit of his career. And the ball finds its way back to Echo Coker, who then has to go back to Route 1 for Fred Burbage. First time kick lands inside the centre circle on the head of Jake Lee, who's having a decent battle with John Clements, the two of them. But it will break for Luca Robinson and then back inside his own half for the Cirencester skipper. Started his career in the youth team at Cheltenham Town. Good links between them and teams in Gloucestershire. And that's if you can hear him, that's John Brough again. I think you're going to be in for that all afternoon. So there we go. As commentators are wont to say, if you did hear anything that upset you, sorry about that, but I'm not getting in the way of that foghorn.
I mean, I think we need to get him and Nicky together, don't we? Have a shout off.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't need a microphone if they were doing the commentary, that's for sure. 25 minutes in, Ware 0, Cirencester 0. Both teams have had their chances. John Clements, nice touch, looking for Jack Dreyer, but his ball forward will be sorted out on the edge of the area by Jordan Morris. Only as far as George Ironton. Halfway line, Darian Furlong all the way along the ground, and Robinson gets in the way again before it can find John Clements. Throw in left for Echo Coker. Darian Furlong doesn't fancy a go on this particular occasion. John Clements comes short. He's the one who gets the ball, controls it off his chest, puts it inside the area. But it's easy for Stuart Nelson to come out and collect it on the first bounce at a sun-drenched Watson Park. Drenched has been the word for the past few days here. It's actually an Environment Agency flood warning for Ware. But we're pretty safe up there at the top of the hill at Watson Park. As Jake Lee puts the ball back for his fellow central defender Charlie Johnson. On the far side, Dan Neal, the right fullback. Long ball forward's going to take one bounce and go out for a goal kick. Doesn't seem to be too much. I mean, it's interesting with these two teams, isn't it? That two of the sides are used to playing on this kind of surface.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think it does benefit Cirencester a little, having had the 3G artificial pitch at their ground as well. Sometimes you find teams that aren't so used to playing on it. It takes them a little time to adjust. But obviously, with them having that, like I say, it helps them out this afternoon as well.
Home from home for the Centurions. George Ironton goes down in a heap under challenge from John Dennis. And we have a free kick right in front of us here, which Darian Furlong will take. Richard Ennin has gone. In fact, George Ironton's going to take it. Richard Ennin was hugging that left-hand touchline, but has now come further in field as Jack Grosvenor's come up to the edge of the 18-yard box. Eka Goga and Darian Furlong there. Plenty of aerial power for Ware on the edge of that area. George Ironton not liking the fact Felix Miles is probably 10 yards away, but it's a little bit close to goal. One arm up in the air from George. Chips it to the edge of the area. Up they go. It's a Cirencester head that gets there first. Eka Goga will rescue it for Ware, but Richard Ennin has to go all the way back inside his own half for David Soter, who in turn has to go all the way back for the lime green clad Fred Burbage, who then chips it out of play midway inside the Ware half. Untidy passage for the home side. 0-0 here at Wadsham Park. A half-time sequence will tell you all about Cirencester. We'll give you, it's a bit of a tenuous Muppet link, but it is one. And we'll also tell you what's been happening in the 414 derby down the road at the Smile IT. Hartford, great current record, and Welwyn Garden City on the back of that crazy game at Biggleswade in the week, which they won by 5-4.
I think that could be a good game, Pete. As you say, Hartford's got a great home record. They've won 5 on the bounce. Welwyn Garden City, that game in midweek, and their away form is fantastic as well. So it's going to be a very entertaining afternoon down there, I reckon.
Well, they're down in 13th. They're 8 points behind the two we're watching this afternoon, but they've got 4 games in hand on both of them. So they're 13th, but don't mark them out of the playoffs. As Ware coming forward, Richard Ennin, possibilities here. Left-hand side of the box, Richard Ennin turns inside, fires the shot, and does nothing but danger the fence behind the goal. He'll be disappointed with that, because John Clements and Theo Ofori were up with him as well. And chance for Ware goes begging. But it's been a good open start to the game.
Yeah, it has. Very, very entertaining. A couple of chances for either side. Pretty even as well. I would say. I don't think any manager could, sort of like definitely say that they deserve to be ahead at this stage. So, it's as you say, entertaining afternoon.
Oh, ball on that far side. Luca Robinson looked to have failed in controlling it, and the referee's given the free kick against David Soter, which looks a little bit on the soft side. But Cirencester then with a free kick parallel to the edge of the Ware 18-yard area. It's going to be the number 10, Felix Miles, who will take it. Jake Lee's come up from the back. We've seen him connect to a couple of corners already. See what they can conjure up here. There's 2-man Ware wall. Richard Ennin and George Ironton are in the way. Theo Ofori, the only attacking player forward inside the centre circle for Paul Wolsey's team. Miles waits patiently for our referee, Mr. Butler, to sound the whistle. He does. Free kick comes in, and the header comes in against the crossbar from Charlie Johnson. So both teams have rattled the woodwork, and Ware can come forward here with Theo Ofori, but a chance is snaffled out in the end, and Dan Hill will turn it back to his goalkeeper Stuart Nelson, and another good chance, this time in the Ware penalty area.
Yeah, great free kick, and he's put it over really nicely, and as you say, it's come off the bar again. Really good opportunity for Cirencester, and I think they'll be disappointed that one didn't go in. Well, I'm surprised we haven't known John Brough giving his thoughts on that.
Maybe only shouts when he's angry. I don't know. Jack Dreyer prods the ball forward, but Nelson's off out to the edge of his area very quickly, very sprightly for his 42 years of age, and bowls it out to Charlie Johnson, who was robbed by the crossbar of scoring what would have been his first goal of the season. As ball's on the halfway line, and now back with Regan Messenger, the 19. He's 19, but he's built like a brick shed. Really is one of the physically strongest players. I think him in a meeting between Regan Messenger and Echo Koga, and the ground would start shaking on. But, here he is inside the centre circle. Plays the ball back to Jake Lee. Bowls it left to Charlie Johnson, who's invited to come towards the halfway line. Jack Dreyer closes down the space. Inside the centre circle now is Jake Lee. Lee looking for some movement, goes far side. We're quite happy for Cirencester to have the ball in their own half. John Dennis has picked up a little bit of space coming forward though. Felix Miles fires in the shot, takes deflection, did it? No, it didn't. And goes behind for a goal kick. I mean, no real press coming from Ware, is it? They're quite happy when Jake Lee and Charlie Johnson get the ball for them to play about at the back. Yeah.
I think they've seen that, that Cirencester are happy to do that, happy to wait for the, for the breaks to come, and Ware happy just to sit there and, force them into making an error sort of thing. So it's a little bit of a sort of like, playing stalemate with each other, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit of cat and mouse going on as Jack Dreyer controls the ball away from Dan Hill, but then it goes out of play on that far side. Decent, you must tell us decent crowd here, because there's quite a few under that stand on the far side of the field. Or is the sign? Where's average attendance gone up 28% since last season, which is very good to see. As Darian Furlong's missed the ball, gives it away to Bennett, who hasn't seen much of the ball. And coming forward is John Dennis, but he's just eased off the ball by Alex Warman, and Richard Ennin, an untidy passage of play, lets the ball run out of play here for a throw-in to Cirencester Town. The Centurions with Roman Link in their part of the world, Cotswolds, lovely part of the world. Jordan Morris with the throw-in for them. Miles gives it back to him. Morris tries to go down the line, then finds Bennett. Miles will pick it up again, chips it forward. We're claiming offside against Jordan Morris, and eventually flag goes up on that far side of the fields. John Bruff's not happy again. There's a bit of a yell. And, I never thought I'd say this. He makes Paul Halsey sound very, very quiet.
Yeah, he weren't actually there. He's saying too many offsides. I think that's what the third or fourth time that they've been caught offside. And with that one, you can understand his frustrations, can't you?
Yeah. I think Joe O'Brien's down there on the Ware bench taking notes of John Bruff as well. He can improve his on-field delivery.
Must do this, must do that.
Must shout louder. Echo Koga goes up. There's already a linesman's flag on the fact that John Clements had come from an offside position. And Cirencester have themselves a free kick deep inside their own territory as we approach the 35th minute of the first half here at Watson Park. 0-0, but plenty of action. Both teams have hit the woodwork. Cirencester have had one off the line and Ware one into the side netting. And Cirencester coming forward. Robinson evades the challenge of George Ironton down the hill on the edge of the area for Jack Grosvenor. Ball down by Jack Dreyer, who on this near side looks for Theo Afori. Jordan Morris was alert to it, but can do no more than just punt it out of play in the gap between the fencing as an obliging spectator goes out and retrieves it in front of the trees on that far side of the ground here at Watson Park. David Soto will take the throw in for Ware. Very much a fixture in the left full-back position now. Ben Siggers was there, but David Soto's been there for the last 8 or 9 games or so, as Jack Grosvenor has Bennett down by the corner flag on that far side, and then just lets the ball run out of play for a throw-in to Cirencester. Right down by the corner flag, far side of the field. It's going to be taken by Dan Hill. who brings in Luca Robinson. Robinson tries to find Hill again. Hill have moved backwards. Robinson bladed in front of him, and it goes out tamely for a throw-in, which will be taken by David Sota on that far side of the field. Cirencester was saying had the better of things here last season. They had the better of things down in Gloucestershire as well, where they beat Ware 3-0. Teams haven't met often, as Jake Lee's long ball loops in the air and comes towards the Ware dugout. Echo Goga's there first and then gives it away to Jordan Morris. Morris is pulled down the line. That's John Dennis on side. Ware could be in trouble there. Puts a ball across the box. Good header from David Sota as Luca Robinson was coming in. And the ball goes out for a corner. And, we've seen problems with both teams which have come from dead ball situations.
Yeah, we have, haven't we? And, that was a lovely ball in. Really dangerous looking ball. And, David Sota's headed it clear. And he's dealt with it perfectly.
So it's going to be Felix Miles again, provider this time from that far side. Jake Lee and Charlie Johnson have come up from the back once again, and on the near post, that is good defending by David Sota. In fact, it was Echo Goga gets the ball away, ricochets to John Dennis, who then thumps the ball off the back of Jack Grosvenor and goes behind for a corner, somewhat fortuitously. It's got to be said for the Centurions. And meanwhile, there's Ware player down. It won't surprise you to know it's Darian Furlong.
I was just going to say it's Darian's daily physio treatment, isn't it? I think he's in the wars every single week. That poor lad.
I don't think Courtney's going to be called for because there's no movement on the Ware bench.
I think he's got a bit of a knock in the back, hasn't he? By the way he's acting there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a Ware match if Darian didn't go down a few times. Corner's going to come in on this near side again. We're going to have to watch out. Cirencester have been dangerous from these situations. Ball goes to the far post. Alex Warman deals with it, and in the end it's hooked off the line somehow by David Sota. My word, how on earth did that not go in?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's twice he's saved them, isn't it? One he's headed off the line. That one there, the header he did just a couple of minutes ago, and it looks like in the happening of that, he's got a kick somewhere, and Courtney's come racing on this time.
Well, Ware lost the ball. I think it might have been Regan Messenger who got the touch, thumped it from absolutely point-blank range, and somehow David Sota, who's now prostrate inside the goal mouth, and I'm not surprised, managed to get in the way of it. And let's hope he's okay. Absolutely brilliant bit of defending by the number 3. And I noticed Veronica's back out there. So,
is that Veronica?
It
is, yes.
Yes.
So I mean, maybe she's been away. Maybe that's why Courtney was taking her place for a couple of weeks. Obviously, she was assisting her for a little while, wasn't she? And Courtney was on her own last week.
Oh, I've got to say, actually, I did Darian Furlong a disservice. It was he who cleared it off the line. It was Darian who was getting the treatment. Wow, what a brilliant bit of defending. Darian Furlong, who's just got up and he's walking back round the pitch here. And how on earth that one stayed out. It's another corner for Cirencester on this side. Ware have been treading the tightrope a little bit. They've got to do so with 10 men here. Darian Furlong's not going to come back onto the pitch at the moment. Corner comes across over everybody and is hooked up in the air by Richard Ennin. Least effective delivery we've had so far this afternoon. Jordan Morris long, a high ball forward, and Fred Burbage will get it. And Darian Furlong will already join us. Long kick forward by Fred Burbage. It's a good one. Looks for George Ironton. George controls it, edge of the area, and here's Theo Ofori taking it up. Charlie Johnson is the defender in front of him. Theo goes round Charlie Johnson. He's then pulled back. There's a linesman's flag up. Theo still going. Ball is pulled across. Stuart Nelson goes across and just paws it behind. Referee signals he would have given the free kick. Wasn't going in, but Stuart Nelson had to be certain.
Yeah, he did. He had to make sure that was dealt with, and didn't creep in on that on that far post. A fantastic run there from Theo. He's turned his defender inside out there, and I think the defender's lucky he didn't give away a penalty there, because he was looking to he was looking to try and bring Theo down, whatever, wasn't he?
And terrific foresight from Fred Burbage as well, starting the move off. Here's Alex Warman with Ware's first corner. We've taken on that far side of the field. 2 forward for Cirencester. Plenty of movement in the box. Alex's corner is a good one, but that's a good bunch by Nelson to the edge of the area where he finds John Dennis. Can't find Luca Robinson. Jack Dreyer did a good job there. Jack's going down towards that left-hand touchline, and it's just shepherded out of play by Dan Earle for a throw-in to Cirencester. The gentleman in front of us get up, wanting to get to the front of the TQ. 3 minutes before the break here at Watson Park, and it's 0-0, but really don't quite know how. There have been chances at either end for both sides. Long ball forward, looking for Richard Ennin, left-hand side, and it's got to be said Cirencester have had the better of them, as David Sota's ball across the box, met by John Clements, but one bounce into the arms of the waiting Stuart Nelson. Well, they've had 2 cleared off the line and hit the crossbar. At the other end, Ware have rattled the woodwork as well. It's been a good half at Watson Park between 2 teams, but you can see why they were in the playoff race in Southern League Division 1 Central. Cirencester have got a throw in far side of the field. Paul Halsey and Kevin Coon having a little bit of a chat, bathed in sunshine. Wonder John Bruff's not having a shout. He's feeling cold down there. There's no sunshine in the Cirencester dugout. Where chance to come forward. John Clements' ball looking for Theo Afori, but Nelson was perfectly placed to come out and just chip it out of play. And when you've got over 600 appearances in your career, and the majority of them in the Football League, you certainly know where to position yourself, and Stuart Nelson might be 42, but he got it absolutely spot on that occasion. Darian Furlong feigns to send it back to Freddie Burbage, and then comes in the opposite direction from the halfway line, headed up in the air by Charlie Johnson. Considerable header as well, lands back on the halfway line. Up in the air by Furlong, back on by Will Pooley, up in the air by Robinson, all about untidy, needs somebody to bring it down. Jack Dreyer does, chips it in for George Ironton, who finds Echo Coker on the halfway line. Coker with the left boot, looking for John Clements, controls the ball away from one, can't control it away from Jake Lee, and could be in trouble there. He left a foot in as Lee went down. Free kick. Referee doesn't show any sign of producing the card. I think other referees would have had a yellow out there.
I think some others would have done, but I think the referees dealt with things in this game. I mean, there's been nothing dirty or anything like that so far in this game, but I don't think there's any need to present a yellow card. At this time, it's not really been that sort of game, has it? So I think just a gentle word, just to be careful, sort of thing, and deal with it as he has done.
Referee Mr. Butler, I think, agrees as well. So it's going to be a free kick just on the Cirencester edge of the centre circle. In fact, Stuart Nelson's being pushed just a little bit further back. So Nelson with the free kick, in a few directions from the sideline of where they want it put. Fading over to the left-hand side, looking for John Dennis, I think is the answer, and he's got it spot on. Dennis picks it up by the corner flag, puts it across the area, headed out by Darian Furlong for Richard Ennis. He can't control it, and Jake Lee, long ball forward, and Lee's on the receiving end again, this time challenge from Richard Ennis. Well, the referee's going to be consistent. He won't produce a card here either. No, I don't think he will. I think Richard's just left a little bit of a foot in there, hasn't he? And I think he's just pulling him over to. Sorry, he's having a word with Clemo. But Clemo's going over there to speak to him. He's asking Richard to come over now. I think he's just going to say, look, again, watch out, be careful. Let's not let this, get silly, sort of thing. Well, Cirencester skipper's up. He's been in the wars in the last minute as Jake Lee on the receiving end of a couple of tackles from Ware players. Referee decides again not to produce a card. Cirencester have themselves a free kick. In time added on for stoppages at the end of the first half here at Watson Park. Actually had a minute and a half of time added on already. Felix Miles, who very much is a man for the dead ball situation. He's going to take the free kick. Jake Lee and Charlie Johnson have come up from the back. Both of them, of course, Ware problems in the air. But, taking his time here. Arm up in the air from Felix Miles. And then chips it to the edge of the area where it gets a flick on. It's controlled by Jake Lee. Flag up for offside, far side, as Fred Burbage comes out anyway and collects it on the edge of his 6-yard box. You do feel, Paul Aussie and Joe, I want a little bit of a chat at half-time about the marking and these dead ball situations. Got some big defenders in there, but they're not really dealing with them.
No, they're not, are they? They have created a couple of chances, as you said. A couple off the line. They've hit the woodwork as well, and that is something that that Paul and Joe will need to speak to the players as they go in for half-time.
And that's what they will be doing as we get to half-time here at Watson Park. The score Ware 0, Cirencester Town 0 in Southern League Division 1 Central. Both teams had their chances. Fair to say the visitors had the more direct. David Sota and Darian Furlong somehow hooking the ball off the goal line. Charlie Johnson hitting the crossbar, whereas John Clement's header came off the junction of bar and post at the other end, and Echo Goka thumped one into the side netting. Been entertaining first half for the good crowd here at Watson Park, but we still await for the first goal. So I'm going to be having a look now at the A414 derby between Hertford and Welwyn Garden City, the only game which is on other than this one in the division, and it gives me a chance to enter our half-time sequence and tell you a little bit about our visitors from Cirencester. Cirencester's in Gloucestershire, 15 miles from Swindon, 123 miles from where we're speaking to you. It's got a population of 19,000 and lies on the River Chum. That's a great name for a river, that, the River Chum, which is a tributary of the Thames, and it's the largest town in the Cotswolds. It's home to the Royal Agricultural University, the oldest agricultural college in the English-speaking world, which was founded in 1840. And Cirencester Park is one of the finest landscape gardens in England, and Cotswold Avenue is the site of a Roman amphitheatre, hence the nickname of the football team as the Centurions. Cirencester Park Polo Club, founded in 1886, is the oldest in the UK. And Cirencester Town FC was founded just 3 years later, and they started in the Cheltenham League in those days and moved to their purpose-built Corinium Stadium in 2002. Probably strangest fact was that in a by-election in 1892 in Cirencester, both Conservative and Liberal candidates received exactly the same number of votes. The last time a by-election had to be declared void for that purpose. Liberals won in the replay, I suppose you call it, at the second attempt. And it's also home to the country's tallest hedge on the Bathurst estate, standing at a mere 40 feet. So you would need a ladder, another ladder, and one of them long hedge pruners to get hold of that, wouldn't you?
I don't fancy trimming that at all.
And just tell you a few famous residents, which include the poet Pam Ayres, the jockey Willie Carson, Jacqueline Balmer, known as Jackie de Creed, who's a stunt woman, unfortunately no longer with us, who holds the world record for a car ramp jump set at Santapod in 1969 at 232 feet. Oof. I'm not quite sure what a car ramp jump is, but that seems like a long way to me.
Or is that 6 hedges?
Could be 6 hedges, yeah, absolutely. Also, comedian Dom Jolly is another man from the town of Cirencester. And the Muppet Link.
Go on.
Well, the Muppet Link involves drummer Cozy Powell. Okay, Cozy Powell was drummer to a number of bands, including Black Sabbath and the Jeff Beck Group. He had something like 60 bands that he played with in terms of a session musician. Had a couple of hit singles as well. Dance with the Devil was one, I seem to remember, from the 70s. And now it is said that Animal from the Muppets has 3 drumming influences. Those 3 drumming influences are John Bonham of Led Zeppelin, Keith Moon from The Who, that you can very much see, third one being Cozy Powell of Cirencester.
Oh, wow. That is do you know what? That is one of my favourite Muppet links. I like that one. I used to love Animal. He was one of my favourites, definitely.
So I think Cirencester are I think the only team we haven't seen Gidlington yet, have we? I was going to say that almost completes the Muppet links for the season.
Oh, one to go.
One to go.
Well, you'll have a few more for next. We'll have to do another one for next season.
I'll have to do something for next season.
Teletubbies link for next season or something. There's not so many of them, so it's a bit more difficult, a bit more challenging for you.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to bring you the half-time result from the Smile IT. As we've said, only the one game in Southern League Division 1 Central taking place today, apart from this one. It's half-time at the break. It's 1-1, Pete. So Sonny Cochran Brown gave Hertford the lead, and Linton Goss, the February Player of the Month for Welwyn Garden City, equalising.
4 goals in 2.5 games.
That's not
a bad signing, is it? And that's Sonny's second in a row as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
He scored last week. So 1-1 there. Let's move on to the Golden Boot, where there's been a bit of movement in the Golden Boot. Eben Mabona of Hatfield Town got one last week, so he's still in front with 26. Kamani Collington seems to have gone a bit quiet. He hasn't scored for a while, but he's still got 19 from Hatfield Town. As has Jamie Marshall from Hertford Heath. On 14, Louis Debenham of Westmill, and now Brad Watkins of Welwyn Garden City, who got one in the week in that game against Biggleswade. And on 13, Adam Bayliss of Hertford Heath. Brian Garzon of Hertford has now moved to the towards the top of the table with 13 goals. He got a couple, of course. Hertford's win against Kings Langley in the week, and Kendall Giamphy of AFC Welwyn has also got 13. But we've got some sort of 6-7 weeks left in the season, haven't we? And I think Eben Mabona is going to take some catching. Yeah, it certainly looks like he is, doesn't he? You know, he's got a clear lead there in the men's Golden Boot, and but we got someone who's moved clear in the women's Golden Boot as well. I mean, I've got to say, well done to St Margaret's. They had a 13-2 win over Buntingford Town last Sunday in the Chris Renshaw Cup. Paige Pryor, our Golden Boot leader, got 5 of those. That moves her on to 24. Second place, we've got Laura Cousins. She's on 16 from Sherrard's Wood. Sophie Vale scored again last week. She's moved on to 14 for Woodson Park, closely followed by her teammate Christina O'Connell. And we've got Jessica Duff from Bury Rangers. She is on 11, as well as Claire Cranfield from Sherrard's Wood. So Paige. I mean, again, she's got a substantial lead in the women's Golden Boot as well. Not surprised after a mere 13-2. I mean, that's
when I saw I saw that score and I thought, oh my God, how many did Paige get? And I saw it, and I wasn't overly surprised, really.
We had a really nice story here last week on Sunday, I think it was, involving youth football. When young Ronnie Wraith, who was the young lad, if you remember, back towards, when was it? About October, wasn't it? I think.
It was about that, yeah.
When Ronnie was unfortunately struck by lightning playing in a county game at Seals School in Hertford. He came on as a sub for Ware's under 14s, and it was lovely to see him. There was really good coverage of it on social media. Got a massive round of applause from the parents and the fans and all his teammates, and I think for both teams actually that were there. And even better for Ronnie, he made his comeback in a game that Ware won against Bishop Stortford Community 3-1. So it's good to see him back.
Yeah, fantastic to see him back. I mean, I know he was back at school fully full-time a couple of weeks ago. Obviously he's in the same year, goes to the same school as my daughter, and she said to me that Ronnie was fully back at school, and I asked her how she was doing, and she said he's really good. He's back to his old self, sort of thing. So brilliant to see, and it's such a heartwarming, lovely end to what was a horrible story at the beginning, and it's just fantastic to see him. When I saw that video and to see him running back onto the pitch, it was absolutely fantastic to see. So well done, Ronnie.
Yeah, and John Stevenson, who's the Ware under 14 manager, on social media described it as his proudest moment in football, which was really nice to see. And we still see they've still got the big poster behind the goal away to our right-hand side, which they put up for Ronnie. So let's hope he continues in his football career. Who knows, in a couple of seasons' time, we might be commentating on him.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see why not. Obviously, Paul put a lovely message on there as well, saying that it was, how fantastic it was to see. I saw Lou Rose, he put something on there as well. And, I think with that, with obviously, the manager and the captain of the men's senior side putting that on there, that hopefully that will give him a little bit of a boost as well, sort of thing.
Yeah, talking of Lou Rose, I hope you are continuing to recover, mate, and we'll see you shortly here, Watson Park, hopefully before the end of the season. Next week, well, I'm going to be on my travels next week because, again, I'll stop moaning about the fixtures in the Southern League, but fixtures have given us a bit of an anomaly. Ware are away at Kidlington. Welling Garden City have got a game on Sunday against Bedford. If I started doing football on Sunday, I think it would be down the divorce court. So that's me out of that one, which leaves Leighton Town against Hartford, live from 2:55 next week. I'll be there following Ben Hurd's in-form team, and we hope to get Chris White in again to stand in for Simon next week as our match summariser. So watch our socials to see what's happening there. Plenty of football in the week for you. Tuesday, Welling Garden City have got Barton Rovers, although state of the pitch, who knows. And the Thurlow Nunn Division 1 South St Margaret's be entertained Benfleet. And interesting ties in the Norman Appleby Trophy. That's an Arts Senior County League competition. Everett Rovers against Hatfield Town on Tuesday. And then on Friday there's a quarter-final between Hartford Heath and Westmill. So we wish teams good luck there, standing on the fence with the Hartford Heath Westmill game. Hartford Heath got a busy week because they've also got Arts Senior County Premier League action, play their football these days at St Margaret's-Bury, and they're taking on London Lions Development on Wednesday. So 2 games in the same week for Hartford Heath. And you were saying, Simon, that you looked at some of the Southern League stuff. I don't know whether they got it wrong, but North Lee were down to play 2 on the same day.
Yeah, I mean that's what it said on the on the Southern League website for next Saturday. It said they've got Kempston Rovers next Saturday at 3 o'clock, and then they're kicking off at 7:45 as well. So I can't see that happening.
Yeah,
but
who knows?
With this fixture backlog, we know what it's going to be like. As we say, we know the FA have said, teams at step 5 and step 6, there's no chance of them extending the season. They won't do it for this. So there's obviously, like we were saying earlier, the Waltham Abbey are going to run out of games, and Welling Garden City are going to have at least 4 midweek games to play.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, we've got 8 Saturdays and Easter Monday after today, and the teams that have really got to fit them in are Welling Garden City, Hadley, Biggleswade and Leighton Town, who've all got 13 games left to play, which gives them 4 midweeks. North Lee, Barton, Kidlington and Kempston have got at least 3 midweeks, and there's only 4 teams in the league that will absolutely could complete their fixtures without a midweek game to come. Waltham Abbey, as you say, they've only got 8 games left, so they're actually going to miss out on one of those fixture dates. Kings Langley, Ware and Cirencester are the other 3. But when you look at those, it's not going to be quite as simple as that, because obviously they're going to have to go away, and they may have to go midweek to one of the teams that's still got a lot of games left to play. Yeah,
it just makes things so complicated and so difficult, doesn't it? And I understand that they can't sort of like go willy-nilly extending the season all the time because a couple of games are called off. But I mean, this has been one of those seasons where so many games have been called off, and they've got to do it sensible. As we've said, if next weekend's a washout, then they've really got to re-look at it, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember the team it was I saw on Twitter, though, somewhere from south of London, and obviously had a bit of a sense of humour, because their Twitter message, X message, this morning read something like, "As it hasn't stopped raining since the mid-1990s, it is no surprise that our game this afternoon is off." So it kind of feels like that a bit, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's been horrible, hasn't it? And the thing is, I mean, as you said, sort of like, Welling's game on Tuesday, if that goes ahead, you can predict it, so can't you? A few days in advance whether these games are going to be on or off, and it's going to be tough work for some of these teams. I mean, there might be cases where some teams are having to play 3 games in a week. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I think Kempston released their fixtures. They've got 6 to play in March already, so they're going to be a busy team. And I think it brings into mind, the teams are due to come out in a minute, this thing about ground sharing. But you look at Welling Garden City, who share with AFC Welling. You look at Bedford, who share with Biggleswade, 2 of the worst pitches in the division, and they're both subject to ground share agreements.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, these clubs, they need the revenue coming in. But if you look at it long term, and you know the state of your pitch already isn't the best, for your team alone, is it really the sensible option? I don't know. I don't know how much these teams pay for sort of, ground sharing and stuff like that, and how much it brings in. But I think obviously you've got to, and I'm sure they do, but you've got to look at it both sides of the coin, haven't you? Really.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's been a little bit unprecedented, I think, the amount of wet weather that we have had. The referee's watch stopped, but it certainly seemed a long half time to me. But they're back out there now. And in fact, Ware are back out there with 4 players at the moment. So I trust the rest are going to join them as Cirencester come out. No changes to the visiting lineup. Let's give you that visiting lineup when we get the chance. Stuart Nelson in goal. The 2 fullbacks for them are Dan Hill and Jordan Morris. 2 central defenders, Charlie Johnson and Jake Lee. In midfield, Regan Messenger, Will Pooley and and Felix Miles. And then Aidan Bennett plays through the centre, and in support of him is Luca Robinson. Their substitutes this afternoon are Charlie McRae, Joe Turley, Josh Seller and James Mortimer Jones. He's another one, actually, over 350 appearances for Cirencester. He too is in his 13th season with the club. As far as Ware are concerned, we've got in goal Fred Burbage, across the back 4 David Sota and Ego Coker. While the 2 wide defenders, Darian Furlong is in centre of defence with Jack Grosvenor, and then in centre of midfield, Alex Warman, George Ironton and Jack Dreyer, and a front 3 of Richard Ennin on the left, Theo Afori on the right, and John Clements through the middle. And away we go at the beginning of the second half here at Watson Park as we await for the first goal of the match. The Ware substitutes, by the way, Kieran Bishop, Mitch Hahn, Freddie Mongoor, Joe Dearman, and Matt Walsh. Ware have been a better team in the second half of games this season, as have Cirencester. Both teams have scored the majority of their goals in the second 45 minutes of matches. So let's see what that will bring for us. Throw in Cirencester, far side of the field. Miles pushed up into the area by Morris. Luca Robinson tried to bring it down, but he still put it for Dan Hill on this near side. Richard Ennin, though, gets himself between the defender and the ball, and it's cleared to the halfway line. The head of Jake Lee onto Jack Grosvenor, up in the air by Messenger. Alex Warman heads it forward, a little bit of aerial tennis. Ends up with Jack Hill playing the ball to the edge of the area, and Jack Grosvenor reading it and playing it out for Richard Ennin, who helps it on to Jack Dreyer and finds George Ironton. Where a chance to get out of their own half for the first time in the second half, and George Ironton flips it over the top of Theo Afori, and then it goes out for a throw-in. Goes all the way back to the goalkeeper, Stuart Nelson. He's been forced into one save, as has Fred Burbage at the other end, but the opportunities really, well, 2 off the line and 1 off the crossbar for Cirencester, and one off the junction of crossbar and post for Ware, as Jack Dreyer feeds on the ball and finds Theo Ofori. George Ironton midway inside the Cirencester half. Good footwork by George. Flips it inside for Richard Denning. Oh, goes all the way across. Well, coming in on the far post was John Clements. But it did seem from here, why didn't he stretch out a leg? But it must have gone past him.
Yeah, I mean, it did look like from this angle that he could have sort of, as you say, just stretched his leg out a little and just flicked it home. But it must have been a little bit too far from him. And, a great chance there for Ware. I mean, great work there for George to find Richard Enning. And he's put it across the goal, and Clemo obviously, fortunately, just couldn't get there.
Well, from where Stuart Nelson's restarting, it would appear that they gave an offside decision there. But restarts anyway. Paul Halsey's not happy. A little bit of shout at the referee. I didn't think there was an offside involved there, but certainly when Stuart Nelson restarted it, it seems to suggest there was.
Well, it certainly seems that way, yeah. I mean, like you say, where he's starting it, there can be no other reason apart from an offside.
Long kick forward by Fred Burbage, headed on by Jake Lee. Theo Ofori will get there first for Ware. Puts it forward for Jack Dreyer. That far side for Echo Coker. Echo Coker to the edge of the area, looking for Theo Ofori. Theo back for George Ironton to fire it in. Takes a deflection, goes wide and gives Ware their second corner. So George, we know, can hit them from that kind of angle. Just didn't quite get hold of that one.
The referee's just coming over to speak to Paul. Paul's obviously speaking his mind, and Rev's not happy with what he said.
Referee's obviously got acute hearing, because you can easily hear what John Bruff's been shouting at him.
I think he's just explaining about that offside, and Paul's
getting the lecture.
Yeah.
So, yep. Okay, Gov, says Paul. Thumbs up from the Ware manager. And on this near side, Alex Warman prepares to take the corner for Ware. As Felix Miles forward for Cirencester. As the goalmouth now is clouded over a little bit to the near post, goes all the way across, and in the end it's Luca Robinson who volleys it clear from round about the penalty spot. Once again, Cirencester themselves, neither team has dealt with dead ball situations well. As George Ironton will take the throw in for Ware midway inside the Cirencester half, has to shield his eyes from the sun. But it's taking maybe 2/3 of the pitch still, as the ball bounces for John Clements, finds George Ironton, fires it across on the head of Charlie Johnson. George will get it back across the area, and they're headed out by Jake Lee at the near post with Richard Edding sniffing. Good job by the Cirencester skipper. It's near side, the ball goes out of play for a throw in to Ware. John Bruff not happy with Luca Robinson again, as the ball will go out, and David Soter will take the throw in for Ware midway inside his own half. Looking for some movement, not getting a lot. Down the line finally from John Clements, he can't control it, and the ball goes all the way out, much to Joe O'Brien and Paul Halsey's disgust, for a goal kick to Cirencester Town, and he's off again away to our right. Doesn't take a lot, does it?
That's entertainment in itself, isn't it?
It is actually, yeah. Although I wouldn't fancy a seat behind him at Cirencester. You'd need earmuffs.
I'm glad he wasn't in the dugout below us at Chalfont. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, oh dear. Happy days. Yeah, definitely the most eccentric commentary position we've ever had. Long kick forward. It was up a ladder in front of the home dugout. Which was entertaining. Long kick forward. Stuart Nelson comes out again and does well, as he has done all afternoon in fielding those. Bowls it out to Jake Lee. It was an own goal that separated the two earlier on in the season. It's going to take something a little special, I think, to separate them here. One ball forward. Jack Grosvenor has to turn backwards and does well to find David Soter on this near side. Again, was quality defending from Jack Grosvenor. He just always looks the coolest man out there, doesn't he?
He does, and I mean, under pressure there, it really was, and he just dealt with it so calmly. He just makes it look easy, doesn't he?
Oh, he and Alex Warman, with due respect to George Ironton, another one, but those two really have been signings of the season for Ware. And if they do get themselves in the playoff, they will be two of the players to thank, most definitely, for turning the ship round for Wolves' team. They're on a decent run. They've only lost one of their last 6, won their last 4 here at Watson Park. And as I was saying earlier, they've got the best home record in the division. Got a far better home record than the leaders Bedford. It's away from home where have had their problems. Not at home. Throw to the halfway line onto the head of Jake Lee. There'll be another throw in to Ware. What's the ball? I don't know what happened there.
It just missed that young lad walking up the steps by about 2 inches, I would say.
It's saying Ware have got the best home record. Cirencester have got the second best defence in the league. Could be put to challenge here as Richard Enning's got it on this near side. Back heel for David Soter to try and get the ball across the line. David Soter's still there, does well, gets it across. Oh! Deflected at the near post by John Clements, and somehow it goes wide of the target.
I mean, the chances that that have been created in this game, and the close chances, chances cleared off the line, ball rolling across the goal, and I can't believe it's still 0-0, Pete.
George Ironton trying to fire it across, but Cirencester will come away with it with Luca Robinson. Well, we talked about Halsey last week. He said we've got to be more clinical in front of goal, and that applies this week as well. Had they have been, and they might be in front. They've made a better start to the second half. Ball down, looking for Richard Ennin on the halfway line. Looks to get a shove in the back, but referee again not interested. Jake Lee's got it for Cirencester. Long ball forward. Jack Grosvenor is the first one to react, and he will just turn away from Felix Miles, who was snapping all over him like an angry little terrier. And Jack just turned his body, and the ball ran out for a goal kick to Ware. Sun's gone in. It's perhaps a little bit more ominous. Some clouds away coming from that left-hand side. Might still be a bit of rain later in the day here at Watson Park. So Fred Burbage will take from the goal away to our right-hand side. Jack Dreyer goes up, lovely flick on the ball, but Charlie Johnson reacted first, but then just booted out of play. Throw into Ware. Darian Furlong not taking it, which I'm surprised, because the one throw that he has had, John Clements' header came off the crossbar, but he hasn't taken many. So maybe that back injury he got in the first half might be the reason for that. As the ball on this near side is hemmed in by the corner flag, where Theo Afori is. He's there with Luca Robinson, goes out for a throw-in. I think it's definitely Darian's physical problem which robs Ware of their long throw. So David Soter down on this near side, rebounds off Luca Robinson and goes behind for yet another corner. I can only think that's the reason why Darian's not taking them. Yeah,
I would imagine so. I mean, as you say, that was the perfect territory for him to take his long throw, and he didn't seem interested at all in getting up there and taking it. So I can imagine that's obviously something to do with it.
Alex Warman's got another corner on this near side. Comes across, up they go. Jack Grosvenor deflects it, and it's out by Luca Robinson. Where we'll get it back with Richard Ennin, edge of the 18-yard box. It's got Alex Warman there as well. Richard gets it back, puts it across the box. Here's Jack Dreyer, thought about the shot. George Ironton does, and there wasn't much in that at all. Stuart Nelson looks like he had it covered, but if that was on target, he would have had a job to do.
Well, I think he would have done. George has absolutely fired that. We know how well he can hit them, and that absolutely flew. And you say he had it covered. I don't know. With the pace that he put on that, I don't think he'd have had much of a chance to reach it.
Well, he looked pretty cool, but I agree with you. I think that was going to be in the back of the net. Jack Grosvenor goes above Bennett. Ware have had the better of the start here in the second half. They've got to make the most of it and get themselves on the score sheet. As Fred Burbage picks the ball up, goal away to our right-hand side, long ball forward. Clements goes up with Jake Lee. Just the pace seems to have gone up a bit in this game in the second half. As Bennett puts the ball inside for John Dennis. Chance now for Cirencester coming forward. Fires in the shot as Luca Robinson, but it's blocked by Ego Coker. Will Pooley picks it up. Ball comes off a Coker again. Picked up on the far side, and in the end Ware wrestled the ball away from Felix Miles. Long ball forward, the centre circle. It's Robinson who picks it up again, and then on this near side John Dennis tries to run it past David Sota, but in the end it runs out of play for a throw in to Ware. Sota will take it by the dugout on this near side of the field, occupied by John Brough and his Cirencester coaching team. 11 minutes gone, second half here, 90 minutes live in association with Easy Shelf Direct with Pete and Simon. It is 0-0 here, and at the break down the road it was 1-1 between Hartford and Welwyn Garden City at a half time. Long ball forwards, and Furlong is there with Bennett all over him, and in the end he just shepherds it back to Stuart Nelson, to Fred Burbage rather. Thought we were going to get a bit of the old Jason Hallett there when the two of them wrestling. But we had it against Waltham Abbey when Alec got a red card, but not on that occasion. John Clements on the far side is robbed of the ball. Morris's ball is headed up in the air by Alex Warman inside the centre circle. Up in the air again by George Ironton, looking for Jack Dreyer, and highest one of the afternoon from Luca Robinson, which lands with Eko Goga prodding it forward. John Clements has got it. Good feet take him away from Messenger. Clements again thought about the shot, in fact takes it, but it's blocked. But George Ironton thought about another shot through to Clements. It's all a bit tight. His shot is blocked again. Rebounds, two Ware players go down on the edge of the area and in the area, and the referee points to the penalty spot. Well, I don't know whether it was Jack Dreyer right on the edge or whether it was John Clements, who's probably 5 yards inside the area, but the referee has pointed to the spot.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, well, Jack's going to need some treatment here. He's not feeling good as well. He's holding his left shin, and but I mean, the rest pointed to the spot. Penalty for Ware, and well, Clemo's going over to grab the ball from inside the net, and I'm not surprised it's going to be him taking it.
Well, Jay Lee's had a little bit of a word with the referee, but it's got to be said there weren't too many protests. And Jack Dreyer's come the worst off. He's Courtney who's coming out now, actually. So we've got a physio bag person, magic sponge person duo. Jack's sitting up, so hopefully he'll be okay.
I wonder if Victoria's been subbed off.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Jack's still looking round, but golden opportunity this for Ware to go in front here. We're going to get fair stoppage here. And what happened, 14 minutes, second half gone, approaching the hour mark, and it looks like John Clements is not going to let anybody have the ball, because he's going to take the responsibility and hope to bury his fourth goal of the season and put Ware in front here. This could be a vital goal against Cirencester. Jack Dreyer has to come off to come back on again, but John Clements at the moment just waiting patiently. Stuart Nelson, of course, immensely experienced goalkeeper, has faced this numerous times during his career. So here comes John Clements wearing 9. Can he put Ware in front? Yes, he does! Goalkeeper goes the wrong way. Ware in front on the hour at Watson Park, thanks to John Clements, 4th of the season, scored from the penalty spot.
Yeah, great from Ware. Calmly taken penalty there from Clemo as well. And Ware going to the lead, 1-0 up. As you say, just about an hour gone of this game, and all they need to do now is keep their heads calm and keep hold of this lead.
Well, it could be a vital goal, because it will move Ware level on points to North Lee, who are 4th. They'll go above Cirencester if they hold on to the advantage here. They've made the better start in the second half, no doubt about it. They've deserved the goal, and the goal has come from the penalty spot, from the boot of John Clements. Let's see what Cirencester can answer here, because Ware have won 13, drawn 1, lost 2, and they've scored the first goal this season. As far as Cirencester are concerned, they've only won once in 13 attempts when they've conceded the first goal. So statistics in Ware's favour, but lies, damn lies and statistics, of course. Don't get Abraham Lincoln much in 90 minutes live, got a bit of him there. Free kick to Cirencester, far side, Jordan Morris. They will look to push forward, I'm sure. It's interesting, actually, there weren't too many complaints from John Bruff on the bench down here either with that penalty.
No, there weren't, was there? And I think obviously they'd seen what had happened and knew it was a foregone conclusion, I guess.
Jake Lee picks the ball up inside his own half with the left boot. Tries to curl one in for John Dennis. He'll get there and just stop it going out of play. Nips it inside David Soter, and arriving is Will Pooley. Pooley plays to the end of Dennis, and Dan Hill's got a chance to put it inside the area, but straight into the arms of Fred Burbage inside his 6-yard box. Fred lets it go. A little bit of a petulant kick there as Regan Messenger came towards him. A little bit early for the Dying Swan act on the ball. So he's going to bowl it down and prepare to kick it left-footed downfield onto the head of Jake Lee. George Ironton goes up. It's collected by Luke Robinson, loops it up in the air. David Soter's there, volleys it towards John Clements, who goes down under challenge from Jake Lee. But Ware will get themselves a throw in parallel to the edge of the 18-yard area. No long throw because Darian Furlong incurred himself a back injury in stopping the ball going across the line from Regan Messenger in the first half. David Soter's going to take the throw in for Ware, but it has been better from Balls's side after half time. They've been the better team, deserved their lead as David Soter puts it across the box. Jack Dreyer's there, is Richard in, bounces off a defender and out by John Dennis. So Felix Miles, ball goes out of play, and Ware will have themselves a throw in. Be interesting to ask Paul afterwards what he said at half time, because this is a much better Ware that has come out in the second half here.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think we've had this situation a few times before, haven't we? We certainly had it last week, and when they had when Stotfold had the stronger first half, and Ware came out, and they fought and battled more in the second half. So it does seem to be a bit of a recurring theme. We're sort of they're not quite as good as they could be in the first half, and they come out all firing in the second.
Well, Cirencester are up against it at the moment. Lost 7 of their 14 away games so far this season. Only conceded 22 goals though, but only scored 19. Scoring goals has been a bit of a problem for them away from home. As George Ironton heads the ball up, John Clements collects it, loops it forward, but Nelson's there to save it easily inside his 6-yard box. Long kick forward by the goalkeeper again. Darian Furlong gets there first, heads it out midway inside the Ware half for a Cirencester throw in. Throw will be taken by Dana Hill, the right fullback. John Dennis plays it back to him on the halfway line. He's robbed of the ball by Alex Warman. John Clements goes down and Hill just about gets the ball back. Crashes into the fencing, and Charlie Johnson has it for Cirencester. Johnson's ball brings in John Dennis on this near side. Dennis tries to go in a run against David Soter. I haven't given him a lot of change so far this afternoon. Ball back with Dan Hill, wondering where to put it. Puts it all the way back to Jake Lee. And the ball towards the edge of the Ware area. And once more, Jack Grosvenor just comes across, puts his body between man and ball. And Darian Furlong's got a problem here. He's gone down again on the edge of the area.
Yeah, he's just crouching down, isn't he? It does look like he's struggling a little. I think you can tell by the way he's running as well. That back is certainly playing him up.
Well, the Ware substitutes bench, not a central defender on there really. Kieran Bishop, Mitch Harm, Freddie Moncur, Joe Demon and Matt Walsh. But I guess with Echo Goga playing right back, there are possibilities of just moving him across to the centre and maybe bringing Joe Demon on to play wide on the right. So Darian, as we know, soldiered on and done it many times this season. And George Ironton loses control of the ball on the halfway line, gives it away to Luke Robinson. A couple of Ware substitutes have got him warmed up. Joe Demon is one of them. And maybe they're just keeping an eye on that situation. On this near side, Dan Hill beats the ball up on the halfway line for Cirencester, chips it forward to the running Felix Miles. Inside is John Dennis. John Dennis on the far side, giving Robinson a lot to do, and in the end he can't do it. And the ball will go out for a throw in away midway inside their own half. on that far side of the field. Once more, I guess that would be the one, wouldn't it? Joe Dean had to come on, play wide on the right.
I mean, that's the one that would make more sense to me, wouldn't it? You know, I mean, I spoke to Joe before. You know, he's perfectly happy slotting in that role on the right-hand side. So, you know, if I had to make the decision and of what to do, that would be the one that make the most sense to me.
Well, as Richard Ennin played last week, I think Joe's unlucky also not to be in the starting lineup here. So he's another one knocking on the door as Theo Ofori's beaten to it by Will Pooley. Picked up by Morris. Pooley gets it back again. Threads it out on this near side, but Richard Ennin reads that quite easily, but in the end his control lets him down. Dan Neal gets the ball away from him. Finds Pooley again. Brings in Miles on the halfway line. He's going to play the ball through to Robinson on the left-hand side of the box where we're claiming offside. Jack Grosvenor gets the foot in. Down goes Echo Goga. And Ware get themselves a free kick. John Bruff is... I don't know why you do it. He adds movements to it as well, doesn't he? That's why he's entertaining. Yeah, it's not just the shouting. There's a considerable amount of movement which goes on with the Cirencester manager.
Don't work for radio, unfortunately. We can only tell you as much as it is. But yeah, do take our word for it.
I think he gets my award for the most entertaining manager we've seen so far from an opposing team this year. There's a ball on the head of Jack Dreyer. Alex Warman, who's had another solid game in the centre of midfield, heads it forward. Robinson will pick it up. Long punt forward. Bennett can't get hold of it, and Freddie Burbidge will just start the Dying Swan act. First one. He collects the ball and drops to his front. Halfway through the second half. 23 minutes gone, it's flown by. We're leading by a golden nail here on 90 Minutes Live in association with Easy Shelf Direct, and looking to consolidate their place in the playoff positions. Top of Southern League Division 1 Central. David Soto got a little bit of a barge off the ball, and they're with themselves a free kick. Where do win this, they'll go on to 43. They'll actually just be a point behind Waltham Abbey with a game in hand. So, as Steve King said, it's not going to end your playoff hopes, but it's going to give you a good advantage to take 3 points from this encounter. Alex Warman's free kick. See if Ware can get a bit of insurance here. Nice one, curled inside, but headed out well by Bennett. Echo Coker will pick it up and bring in David Soter. David's ball all along the ground, looking for Richard Ennin, but in the end it goes out of play for a throw-in to Cirencester. Both teams have got subs warming up, but nobody looking likely to make a change at the moment. So Kieran Bishop's doing some limbering up exercises inside the Ware dugout. Throwing down the line off of Messenger. George Ironton prods it forward, but it'll bounce to Stuart Nielsen, who then bowls it down that left side for Jordan Morris. Morris down the line, not only as far as Echo Coker. Haven't really got their passing game together in the second half. Cirencester played some good stuff in the first. They've been second best in the second. They trail by a golden nil. Alex Warman picks the ball up, looks for Richard Ennin, and unfortunately the ball goes out of play. Dan Hill with the throw-in down the line, looking for Felix Miles, but who's there? And Mr. Dependable Jack Grosvenor to put it out of play. And you do feel it's Cirencester need to make a change here, because they're not anywhere near as effective as they were in the opening 45.
No, they're not, are they? As you said, they're not stringing the passes together, and they're not consistent enough as they were in the opening half. And I did think they was thinking about making a substitution, because the assistant manager there has got the board in his hand, but I don't know, it looks like he's just holding on to it for some reason.
Maybe he's keeping his hands warm. Richard Ennin puts it forward to John Clements midway inside the Ware half. Super job by Clemo holding the ball, and then Jake Lee gets the tackle in, but John Clements did his job, kept the ball, and Ware will have a throw in. Just looking down there. Players getting stripped off on the bench there for Cirencester, so they are about to make a change, I think. Unfortunately, it's frosted up. I think that's a 14. Difficult to see through the glass dugout that's frosted up. I think it's Charlie McRae who is about to come on. I would guess probably Aidan Bennett is the one who's going to go off, because he hasn't played a great part in the game, the centre forward. McRae is a striker, 19-year-old. It's David Soter as a throw-in for Ware. Down the line, Jack Dreyer just eased off the ball by John Dennis. It's picked up by Luca Robinson, and far side Jordan Morris will come forward across the halfway line. Jordan Morris allowed to go to midway inside the Ware half on that far side of the field, and then gives it straight to Echo Goga. Echo's ball forward, looking for the run of John Clements. Jake Lee's there, but Clemo will get there before him. Down by the corner flag. Does what he does so well, holds on to the ball with his back to goal, plays it inside for Theo Ofori. Theo's surrounded in yellow shirts, and it's Will Pooley, one of them, who comes away with the ball, then gives it away to George Ironton. Jack Dreyer far side for John Clements. John's ball looking for Jack Dreyer inside the area. Theo Ofori's there as well, but in the end it all comes to nothing, and will go out for a goal kick and allow Cirencester to make not one but two changes. It's going to be Regan Messenger who's going to come off for Joe Turley, and also it is going to be Charlie McRae who is going to come on, wearing 14. In fact, he's going to come on for John Dennis. So Charlie McRae for John Dennis. Regan Messenger goes off. Joe Turley comes on. We'll see how that changes play. Doesn't look like it's going to change the formation too much, as going over that, McRae's gone over to that far side, and Turley's gone into central midfield where Messenger was, so hasn't really changed the pattern too much by the look of it. And Stuart Nelson's going to restart from the goal away to our left-hand side. Jack Grosvenor does well, beats Bennett to it in the air, but Hill comes up with the ball away from Richard Ennin. Darian Furlong just scuffs the clearance out on this near side. Hill will take the throw in for Felix Miles. Back for Dan Hill. Dan Hill. The ball threads its way to Felix Miles on this near side. Miles, a decent run, goes towards the edge of the area. Miles still going, but runs out of room and heads straight for George Ironton. John Clements shrugs aside Jake Lee, holds on to the ball. Clemo still there with the ball, and in the end he wins Ware a throw-in with some neat footwork. Oh, surely wins Ware a throw-in. Well, Paul Halsey can't believe it. Fans in front of us can't believe it. But referee gives it the other way, and Dan Hill throws it back to his goalkeeper, Stuart Nelson.
Well, I mean, I think you heard the reaction from the crowd and everyone that absolutely no one in this stadium, well, apart from the Stockfold players and management team, but I don't think anyone agreed with the referee on that decision.
Joe Demon's about to join us. As far as Ware are concerned, wouldn't be at all surprised if Darian Furlong that comes off, as Echo Goga thumps it towards the halfway line. Up in the air by Luca Robinson in our direction. If anybody's going to keep that in play, and no, they're not. With one bounce, and Ware will make the substitution now. So Joe Dearman is about to come on for Halsey's team. In fact, it's Theo Ofori who's going to go off. So obviously to think that Darian Furlong is okay to continue. Theo doesn't look too impressed. But it's going to be a right winger for a right winger as Theo Ofori comes on, and Theo's had patches, hasn't he, that hasn't really been able to get in the game.
No, he's not had the sort of influence that we know he can have on this game. You know, he comes over, he's shaking his head. I mean, we've said before, you know, it's good to see him frustrated that he's coming off. But I mean, as you think, I mean, I'm surprised it's not Darian. I'm just looking at him now. You know, he's just sort of like swiveling his shoulders, twisting his back. He's obviously suffering a little bit, but he's made of stronger stuff, isn't he, Pete, old Darian?
I remember the game against Chelmsford, and I think there was nothing short of him being carried off on the stretcher, which was going to stop him with that one. He was going down every 5 minutes. But ball goes out of play on this near side of a throw-in for Ware. Joe Dearman, as expected, has slotted in on the right flank. Obviously, he's still got options to drop him back there with the players that are on the bench. Should Darian not be able to continue. Alex Woolman's done an excellent job of winning the ball between two defenders, and rather like the one he went into with Jake Lee in the first half. It was Will Pooley on this occasion who catches Richard Ennin, and he goes down in a heap right in front of us. And it'll be a free kick to Ware, and we are needed. And the tag team of physios continues here. Not Courtney this time. So,
it is right. You do this one, I'll do the next one.
So Richard's sitting up. He's going to be okay. George Johnson over. Just going to work with Ballsy, Joe O'Brien and Kevin Coon. So we're about to enter the witching hour in a couple of minutes. Last 10 minutes of games. Both these two teams have been lively. Last 10 minutes of games, 10-4 and 7 against for Cirencester. And Ware, well, we know about their record. They've scored 14 in the last 10 minutes, but conceded 10 as well. So this one ain't over till it's over, as they say. As Richard's still getting a little bit of attention right in front of us. Kieran Bishop, of course, would be the likely change you would think should Richard not been able to continue, but I think he is going to be okay. Going to have a considerable amount added on, I think, at the end of this half, not only with the penalty incident, but a couple of stoppages that we've had as well. So Richard limps off to come back on again, and we have a free kick which Darian Furlong is going to take right in front of us, just inside his own half at Watson Park. We're leading by Golden Hill. John Clement's penalty right on the hour mark is what separates these two sides in a very close encounter. Cirencester had the best of the first half, Ware have had the best of the second, as Darian Furlong sends Clements going across the box, but it's hoofed forward. Bennett's header is pounced on by Alex Warman again, and Alex gets another tackle in. He's not missed anything at all in that central midfield berth, and the ball finds Jordan Morris on that far side. Morris back for Jake Lee. Will Pooley on the near side for Dan Hill. Down the line for Luca Robinson. Tries to go around David Sota and does so in the end. Luca Robinson trying to get it across. David Sota delays his progress with an outstretched leg. Robinson will get it back. Brings in Dan Hill. Dan Hill down the line looking for Robinson again. Still Cirencester in possession here. He thumps the ball against Sota in the end. And the ball will go out for a throw-in to the visitors on this near side of the field. Sunshine's back out. We're only on maybe just over half the pitch now. Defenders that end having to shield their eyes from the sun as Richard Enning collects the throw-in and then just thumps it towards the halfway line onto the head of Jake Lee, who's given it away to Joe Dearman, but Joe couldn't control it, and Lee gets the ball back. The Cirencester skipper rolls it out left to Charlie Johnson. That's their best chance in the first half. His header with Fred Burbage beaten came off the centre of the crossbar. Far side of the field though, getting the ball across the box. They do, it beats everybody, and it's a shot comes in from Felix Miles, who rather snatched at it from just the left side of the penalty spot, and in the end falls over as it goes over the top. Kieran Bishop is about to come on. Could be Richard Enning that's going to come off here, I've got the feeling. But Kieran Bishop is going to come on for Ware. In fact, it's going to be John Clements that's going to come off. So he's worked hard. Not aware he's going to come off at the moment. The referee's actually going to go over and tell him he's the one that's going to go off.
I mean, I think Richard thought it was going to be him, because as Kevin's there and he's got the ball, Richard sort of like bites him and saying, is it me? So, it was, Richard had that idea as well.
John Clements goes off to a big round of applause. He really has worked hard this afternoon, as he does every afternoon. And it's his penalty that separates the two sides. So Kieran Bishop, who came on, played wide last week and provided the cross from Richard Enning and scored the equaliser at Stockfold, now goes down the centre. Always hold your breath a little bit when Kieran Bishop comes on. Made 2 appearances this season, lasted 3 minutes and got 2 red cards. But hopefully that won't be a hat-trick this afternoon, as Jack Grosvenor puts it all the way back to his goalkeeper Fred Burbage, who does another dying swan on the edge of his area that takes us into the final 10 minutes here at Watson Park, with Ware leading by a goal to nil. One of only 2 matches in this division this afternoon. The other one up the road at Smile IT. We'll let you know what's happened in that. At the full time here, it was 1-1 at half time. Jake Lee is beaten to it by Kieran Bishop, and Cirencester will have a throw in, which is down by the corner flag on the near side of the field, and will be taken by their right fullback, Dan Hill. Gets the ball back. Jake Lee once again thumps it against Kieran Bishop, and Cirencester down by the corner flag near side, where fans won't worry about that as long as the ball is down that end. Say Ware have conceded 10 in the last 10 minutes of games, but there's been a certain amount of resilience about this new look Ware lineup, with Grosvenor and Warman in the 11. 0-0 at Hadley, of course, and 1-1 at Stopfold. They've got a bit of defensive resilience about them these days. Going to need it, though, as Felix Miles picks the ball up on that far side. Darian Furlong there, and the ball just bounces off his knee and goes out for a throw-in to the visitors, who really picked up the pace in the second half. They're going to get something they need to now, and then Cross is a poor one. And yeah, it's Jack Grosvenor on the edge of the area, though. There's a ball on this near side looking for Luca Robinson. It was Miles who made the space. Robinson was caught on his heels, and the ball will go out for a goal kick.
I mean, you say about that defensive resilience, Pete, and I mean, you consider that's one goal they've conceded in the last 4 games, which I mean, beforehand, earlier in the season, and that sort of thing wasn't happening. So again, that sort of like goes to show the the change that these players have made now they've come in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've only conceded 2 since they've been in the starting lineup, and Mitch Hahn is about to come on here. Mitch, who's had his injury problems, hasn't played for a few weeks, and he's about to be introduced with 14 on his back. Not sure, it might be George Ironton that goes, but we will see. But George is about to take a throw in on that far side. I can't see Alex Warman coming off. He's under storming game. It is indeed going to be George Ironton who's going to come off. So George, tried to come this side, and the referee said, look, you're right down by the touchline. So George goes off from the far side. I think he's had a good game as well. I mean, he struggled with injury, but slotted in quite nicely there this afternoon.
Yes, I think it's one of the better games that George has had in the Ware shirt. Obviously, he's not had too many, like you say. He has suffered with injuries, so he's not had too many opportunities. But it's just nice to see him back on the pitch, performing as well as we know he can.
So Mitch Hahn's on to play alongside Alex Warman in the centre of that midfield, as Kieran Bishop goes down by the corner flag on the far side, and the ball just thumped out to midway inside the Cirencester half for a throw-in to Ware. A lead here by a goal to nil on 90 Minutes Live in association with Easy Shelf Direct. Goal coming on the hour when Jack Dreyer was hacked down right on the just inside the area, and John Clements took the penalty, sent Stuart Nelson, the goalkeeper, the wrong way, as Alex Warman's got the ball on that far side, but can't control it, and the ball will go out of play for a goal kick to Cirencester. 5 minutes plus time added on for stoppages left, as Jake Lee comes forward for the visitors. Plays the ball back inside his penalty area for Stuart Nelson. Charlie Johnson for Cirencester. For Jake Lee, there don't seem to be too much of a hurry up. They're the team that are trailing here. Suddenly Hill sends them forward. Miles collects it well, tries to shot, gets it all wrong, and endangers a corner flag more than he endangers Fred Burbage's goal. So 5 minutes plus time added on, Simon. Time to think about man. We'll give you your man of the match warning.
My 5 minute warning.
5 minute warning for
excellent.
For man of the match. As, Fred Burbage will.
A siren. We need to get that siren from Harlow, don't we?
That's it. Yeah. So I think they've probably been using it a lot this season in the division they're in, on top of the league. It's probably worn out. Can always get John Bruff to do it for us, and he'd give it a run for its money. Long kick forward to the head of Charlie Johnson, far side of the field. Charlie McRae, who's really not got in the game since he's come on, gives the ball away, but Dan Hill will pick it up nicely midway inside his own half, chip it forward, but Jack Grosvenor's there. Mitch Hahn's first touch is a neat one, takes him round one player, but he can't find Kieran Bishop, The ball on this near side is just hoofed forward by David Tota. Untidy package of play, but it won't worry Ware at all. As throw-in taken by Dan Hill by his Ware dugout. It's Felix Miles, who's looked lively, picking a bunch for me for Cirencester, but on that occasion he's robbed of it by Jack Grosvenor, manages to get the ball back though. And Turley, who's hardly touched the board since he's come on, finds McRae on that far side, who likewise has not really had a lot of the ball. Throw-in to be taken. Here is Joe Turley, he has 15 for Cirencester. Brings it forward, brings Aidan Bennett into play, can't control it. Turley nips it on this near side for Dan Hill, the right fullback. Outside him is Luca Robinson. Robinson drifts inside David Tota. Robinson is still going, but good defending by Richard Ennin. And Alex Warman will bring in Jack Dreyer, who will find Mitch Hahn, who just chip it forward towards Kieran Bishop, who gets the biggest shove of the afternoon in the back from Jake Lee, who's not happy with the referee, but I think everybody in the ground spotted that one. And Ware will have themselves a free kick. Mitch Hahn will leave it for Alex Warman. We've got 2.5 minutes plus time added on here at Watson Park, and what could be a very significant afternoon in Ware's challenge for a playoff place in Southern League Division 1 Central. Alex Warman's missed the ball though. David Tota will get it back on the halfway line towards Richard Ennin, finds Kieran Bishop. Bishop's done well, he's outside Jake Lee. Bishop's in the area all the way across, but nobody at the far post to collect it. Joe Dearman had come short, and Kieran Bishop showing good strength against the Cirencester skipper. Managed to get it across the box, but nobody there to take advantage. So Cirencester still in with a chance of a point, or perhaps even more. Going to have a considerable amount of time added on at the end of this one. Dan Hill, though, once again puts the brakes on. Back to Jake Lee. Lee to his left brings in Charlie Johnson, his central defensive partner, who just gives him the ball back. 4 passes in their own half. This will be 5 to Hill on this near side. Finally the ball goes forward and straight into the arms of Fred Burbidge. Well, Fred falls on the ball inside his 6-yard box, and Cirencester, for me, seems to have run out of ideas here.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, like you say, it's, there seems to be no urgency for them to get forward. They're happy knocking it about at the back, taking a few passes to get it forward, and you would think in this situation, they'd be looking to rush to play the ball upfield more.
Stuart Nelson bowls the ball across his 18-yard box for Jake Lee. Once again, he's strolling, the skipper, strolling. So this time he does play a long ball forward and straight again into the arms of Fred Burbidge. Well, I'm sorry if you're listening from the Cirencester area, whether you find this frustrating, because you must do. We're finding it frustrating, and as you can understand, our allegiance is with the other side. Rainbow over Watson Park for the second time this afternoon. 3 points at the end of this one. Could they be going to Ware? Long kick forward, controlled by Luca Robinson. Plays the ball back to Turley, just puts it up in the air, and Alex Warman again wins the ball. Hooked away by Mitch Hahn. Onto the halfway line from Morris, far side of the field. McRae's beaten to it by Agogoka, and then the ball bounces off the substitute and goes out for a throw in. We are in to time added on for stoppages here at Watson Park, and who's your man of the match?
Well, I mean, I've got a couple of players in mind. I mean, I do want to first of all give a special mention to Jack Dreyer. I think he's had a great game, and Jack Grosvenor as well, who has been solid and dependable as usual. Just break here for 1 second, Pete.
Was forward on that far side, the ball coming forward, and that's an excellent challenge by Alex Warman on Felix Miles, who's certainly been the toast of the players as far as Cirencester are concerned. Where player Agogoka goes down, it's going to be a free kick. Come back to you, Simon.
Yeah, so the 2 players I was thinking in mind are, first of all, David Tota. I think he's had a great game. Defensively, he's cleared that one off the line. That header that came over, and he cleared that really well. And he's dealt with things really well. But today I'm going to give the man of the match to Alex Warman.
Yeah, I think I would absolutely wholeheartedly agree with that. It's had a storming game as Ware's number 2. So Alex Warman is our 90 minutes live in association with Easy Shelf Man of the Match. Congratulations to him, and very well deserved. Long ball forward, not over yet though. As our man of the match picks the ball up and just stabs it forward towards Kieran Bishop on that far side. One bounce will take it out of play. There was a spectator who diverted it through the open gate out there just to take slightly longer. I'm not sure. But we've already nearly had 2 minutes over the top played by our referee, Mr. Butler, who's not had a bad game. Done everything we could expect of him, I think. And one of the better ratings for a referee this season, I feel, was on this near side. David Soter goes up, good header over the top of Luca Robinson, wins it again. Dan Hill, he's had a solid game as well, the right back, puts it back for his skipper, Jake Lee. Jake Lee has to go all the way back to Stuart Nelson. I mean, there's 2 minutes plus gone in injury time. They're a goal behind and they're walking. As Nelson's ball forwards, he's with Aidan Bennett, who picks it on his chest, beaten to it by David Soter. Jack Dreyer goes up, nobody knows where the ball is. Bennett gets it back, brings in Luca Robinson and who, but Alex Warman again is there. Put the challenge in and watch the ball go out of play on this near side for a throw-in to the visitors. We're leading by Golden Nail, but have got a corner to defend now on this near side. Had had problems with corners in the first half. This is Cirencester's only corner in the second 45 minutes, and Felix Miles, who's been the provider, is going to take it on this near side of the field. All hands to the pump as far as Ware are concerned. Miles' corner goes to the far post. The header comes in, up in the air, and Fred Burbage collects it with Jack Dreyer there with him on the line as well. I think it was Charlie Johnson who headed it in again. At that time, there was no problem for the Ware keeper.
No, I mean, he's just taking his time there getting up. I thought he might. Yeah, it looks like he's been caught a little bit. He's just hobbling as he brings the ball out. But I do think it might be a little bit more to be trying to waste a little bit of time, Pete.
Never. Well, it doesn't matter about wasting time. Big cheer at Watson Park, because that is a big 3 points for Ware. They've beaten Cirencester Town here by a goal to 0. John Clement's penalty on the hour after Jack Dreyer was fouled. He said goalkeeper Stuart Nelson the wrong way, and that was enough to bag the 3 points here, make it 1 defeat in 7 for Ware. And in 5 now, they've now not conceded again. It's another clean sheet for Bohls' side. 2 in a row here at Watson Park and 3 in their last 4 games. Well, for years gone by, it's been attacking prowess which has fired Ware into the playoffs. Could this year be defensive resilience which sees them finish in the top 5 in the table? Well, those 3 points will move them on to 43 points, and they will go level with North Lee. They've got an inferior goal difference. Their goal difference goes up to +2. Takes them into 5th in the table. Cirencester will drop down and could drop down even further depending on what's happened in the A414 derby between Hertford and Welwyn Garden City. Top of the table, Bedford top, played 25, 50 points, plus 29 goal difference. Biggleswade Town second, played 25, 47 with plus 21. Waltham Abbey a third, played 28, 44, plus 5. North Lee stay in 4th, played 24, 43, plus 9. Ware will move up into 5th, played 27, 43, plus 2.
Excellent. Well, I've got the full-time result for you, Pete. Well, it's not actually full-time. There's still, I would imagine they're into injury time at the moment, but Welwyn Garden City are leading 2-1. James Koloski with a second half goal there, so I'll keep an eye on that and see if the full-time score comes in while we're finishing off here.
Second goal of the season for James then. We'll remember his first one.
I was going to say, I wonder if it was as good as his first one, yeah. I bet it wasn't.
Well, Welwyn Garden City then, their away record is superb, and they've done the deal so far over Hartford, who'd won 5 in a row at home, of course. So that's put a dent in Hartford's playoff hopes. If that continues, they will have played 26 and remain on 39 points, so they'll remain a point behind Cirencester and also behind AFC Dunstable on goal difference. Welwyn Garden City will have played 23 and got 35, and with a game against Barton Rovers that they would expect to win on Tuesday. If it goes ahead, they could well find themselves in the playoff picture by midweek. But we're in a huddle and getting the words of Paul Halsey. We will get the words of Paul Halsey, of course, as once we come off air. It'll be on 90 Minutes Live post-match tomorrow. Thanks for supporting that as well. We got lots of downloads for our 90 Minutes Live post-match. We'll have word with Paul Halsey, and hopefully Simon will catch up with our man of the match, Alex Warman, as well. That will be live tomorrow. Can tell you it's finished in the Smile IT at the A414 Derby. Hartford 1, Welwyn Garden City 2. Linton Goss and James Koloski with the winner for Welwyn, with Sonny Coughlin Brown for Hartford in the first half. I'll be watching the Hartford this time next week when they go to Leighton Town, weather permitting, and as this race for the playoffs hots up. Ware go to Kidlington, and hope that their away form picks up, because at home they have confirmed they've got the best home record in the league, and it's a home record which also not only sees them score goals but also sees a real stern defence, which has kept 3 clean sheets in 4 now, which is something relatively unheard of, I think, around these parts.
It is definitely, yeah. I mean, it's the difference that Alex and Jack have made. I think, coming here, I think it's brilliant. Paul will be really pleased with that as well. So I think it's what they need, especially getting to this stage of the season. You've got Clermont up front that can put the ball in the back of the net, and all you need to do is keep it out at the other end, and you want to something good.
Well, the squad's been fit. Steph Giorgio is back in contention next week, of course, having served his 3-match ban. So Wolsey will have decisions to make as they travel to Kidlington. We talked about Alex Warren, we talked about Jack Grosvenor. I'll tell you, there is another secret. Because before the Waltham Abbey game, Mrs H noticed as I was walking out the door, she said, "You got odd socks on." I said, "Have I?" And I looked down and I had. Oh. So ever since, they've been worn, and I haven't lost a game since then.
Really? You keep wearing odd socks?
They're on there. I know this is radio, but take my word for it, there's odd socks on.
Two socks? Or?
No, different. They're odd socks. So
do it next week.
The odd socks will be on throughout the playoffs, and
excellent.
Hopefully our teams will take advantage of the good luck.
Have you told Paul?
Not yet. It's all down to me. It's all down to me. Well, wherever you've been listening to us on 90 Minutes Live in association with Easy Shelf Direct, thank you for your company this afternoon. If you were listening down in Gloucestershire, I hope that you at least enjoyed bits of our commentary. I know you won't have enjoyed the scoreline, but good luck to your team for the rest of the season. I'll catch you next week, hopefully in Leighton Buzzard, Leighton Town against Hartford, live from 2:55. Have a great evening, and I'll leave you with the final score here from a happy Watson Park, where it's ended Ware 1, Cirencester Town 0.